Do we need to put this?
Take notes for you.
No.
Not really. Yeah. Not really.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Welcome to Community Constituency COVID-19 Front Radio, a platform where we empower, we educate, we engage, we inform, we equip, and we talk with the community and the civil society all over the country in South Africa. My name is Fofole Refolo and I'm your host today. Today we are talking about the role and the importance of community media in the communities, especially now during COVID-19. Our guests today are Deputy Minister in the Presidency, Ms. Thembi Siweya, the General Secretary of National Community Radio Forum, Thabang Puso-Yabone, and Steve Litsike, the co-chairperson of Community Constituency COVID-19 Front. Welcome, leaders. Hello, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hi.
Let's just start with Steve. Steve, Community Constituency COVID-19 Front was formed immediately when the President announced that we do have COVID-19 in South Africa. Can you take us back and explain to our viewers and our listeners what's the importance, or why was this constituency and the front through its networks well formed?
No, thank you so much, and good afternoon to the viewers and the listeners. The Community Constituency COVID-19 Front was established indeed a week before the lockdown regulations were enforced and pronounced by the President. The most important thing is that the coming together of the Apex networks, 11 networks, came because of the experience of work in various sectors. One includes the biggest challenge that we are responding to, which is HIV, TB, and STI. We came together because, one, our experience, our expertise helped us to then drive and lead the community measure aspect around advocacy, monitoring of interventions, around contact tracing and testing, around education and awareness, and really implementing what we know as communities together. Now, we know very well that COVID-19 requires us to address the prevention, the treatment, but as well as addressing the social and structural barriers to accessing health, barriers to addressing the socio-economic aspects. We know the impact it had even on communities around job losses, around access to education, and many others. It is our own responsibility that we committed to respond to the needs, to educate the community, not only just on key messages around wash your hands, hygiene, sanitize, and so forth, and even wearing a mask, but practically taking it through our constituencies and our sectors to implement practical interventions that are community-led. So as much as we are here talking now, is to translate the messages. It's easy to say COVID affects us in our respiratory interventions, but we have to actually tell people what does that mean in practice. When you speak about the environment and the surfaces, when you speak about the bodies, when you speak about caring for others. I mean, with Deputy Minister, we touched a little bit around stigma and discrimination and how easy it is as community members to stigmatize and not be compassionate, and realize that not only are we talking about the infected, but we're also talking about the affected, because all of us collectively have that responsibility. So community constituencies came together as Apex as we are to implement interventions. We established a NEF Center, Deputy Minister. And the NEF Center practically is to coordinate operations from national level as pronounced by governance, but also to as local as possible to neighborhood structures. And the neighborhood structures, we work with agents, community agents, that helps in malls, in clinics, in schools, when you speak about social distance, when you speak about education and so forth. So we come together to do so. And part of the work that brings us here to talk about the role of community and the role of civil society in the media, it's where we are able to translate not only just as communicators here, but also as community members. Different constituencies and different messages that requires interventions that are targeted.
Minister, coming to you, Deputy Minister, please tell us, during this pandemic, what is the government been doing through local media on the ground? Yeah.
No, thank you. Good afternoon to the panel members, and also afternoon to the viewers and the listeners. I hope I'm audible with the mic. Am I okay? Yes. Look, let me start by commending you for what you're doing. If you remember, immediately after the national pandemic disaster was declared by the president, and then on the 26th of March, he then declared that we have got a national lockdown. He went and met with political parties in parliament, but beyond that, he went out to say South Africans must form part of finding solutions for the pandemic. And really, truly, if today I'm sitting here and you're saying you had the call by the leadership of the country and you have done this, let me commend you for that. And we really appreciate that, and so much more we are encouraging that our people can be innovative like you have been and do what you have done. Look, if in the ministry, we are responsible for an entity called the Media Diversity Development and Diversity Agency, which is the MDDA. Now, the act in itself is a legislative white paper which empowers historically disadvantaged communities. What we do there is that we fund and support print, electronic, and television community media sector. We have thus far, I'm just going to flag a few. One is that in the first phase at the end of March, we did what we call an emergency relief fund for community media, and we were able to assist community radio stations, print and TV. We distributed 20 million. In the end of April, 10 million was approved to also assist in the very same space. And what I can safely say to you is that beyond the actual funding of money that the MDDA has been able to do with us providing the oversight over the institution, we have continued to also ensure that a platform like GCIS coordinates with community media sector. Let me give you an example. If, for example, now President calls a press conference and says, this is what Cabinet has resolved on, we have been able to advantage our communities through community media sector, through integrating them and sending them a coherent message. So if in the mainstream commercial media broadcasters, they are reporting that the call says you must sanitize, it is illegal to walk outside without a mask. We have been able to also afford our people who are historically disadvantaged the same space of information and knowledge. And that's why I'm saying, if we are here today, I'm really very, very excited that you are also tapping into the platform of a digitalized radio, where we are, and you are able to give those who are historically disadvantaged that platform to speak.
Let's talk about giving a voice, which is part of the work that you do. How far it is, and are you also rolling out into other provinces?
Yes. No. Look, if you remember last year, we expanded the funding which we were giving to community media sector. One, the voice, we provided it because we introduced what you call so we revised the funding model. Why did we revise the funding model? It was because we realized that we are getting money and we do not see value for money, and we are not able to fund correct projects. And we launched in August. We opened up for applications, and we launched in August from the 1st until the 30th that can you come anew and make applications. And the new funding model which we have introduced is more simpler, it is more friendlier, it gives a community media sector that advantage in space to be able to also apply.
Mm-hmm.
And in that context, I'm mentioning it because it has assisted us to date to touch communities which we had never touched. And through that funding, we went and we opened a community radio station with first-class studio equipment in Tugo, in KZN, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And that is part of the measures which we have introduced to say we also need to, the voice that we give to our people, can we also be innovative and allow them to have also first-class studios? Can they also have first-class OBs? So you move away from giving people a vehicle and saying the OB must be in a car, it goes to be in a briefcase, which is also what your mainstream commercial broadcasters are doing. And in that way, we have continued to ensure that the voice of those who are historically disadvantaged is also heard. If you remember, last week or week before last, the president went further to call an in-bizo on COVID, and we utilized the platform of community media to connect where he was able to connect with 65 community radio stations. And that is part of contributing to ensuring that we live up to the mandate of the entity, but also to respond to the question of giving a voice to the hopeless. And they were able to also interact with their leadership and we exchange ideas and we speak with our people about the pandemic so that all of us we can be able to reduce the care.
We're still on community constituency COVID-19 front, where we are talking about the role of community media in communities. We also have the General Secretary of the National Community Radio Forum, Thabang Puso Yabone. Abuti Thabang, can you simply tell us what have you guys been doing on the ground during this time of COVID-19? We are still on community constituency COVID-19 front radio. My name is Fofoli Refulo, the platform where we engage, we empower, we inform, we educate, and we equip communities and social services as well as community people on the ground of South Africa to talk about this pandemic and to come up with solutions as community of what can we do to curb this virus. We are still on the community constituency COVID-19 front. Steve, can you tell us now that we know that the front has an app which is called Thusa Setjhaba that is helping communities, that is helping the civil society to see the needs of communities on the ground. How far are you and how is this app working?
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Fofo. I think one thing to appreciate with the comprehensive modeling of the community constituency, there was a development, Deputy Minister, of an app called Thusa Setjhaba. It's a web-based platform where community members everywhere, whether in the rural area, in the urban area or peri-urban, everywhere across the country, they can go onto Thusa Setjhaba web-based platform and report their situation. And we have seen for the last 2 months since we started implementing this, we have reached the corners of South Africa where even there has not been any service linkages, right? People have reported situations, one, whether of food parcels, two, whether of not able to access their ARVs, three, whether they do not have access to information around COVID. We responded to these by linking it from a geo-specific location, where we can then say, go to your nearest clinic or go to your nearest social welfare, go to your nearest platform where you will be able to be assisted. The Thusa Setjhaba app, what was also fortunate for it, we opened up to say we will help what government has already augmented or put in place. But additionally to that, we reach out to communities that also have been marginalized over time. We are collecting data that tells us the kind of constituencies or citizens we have, whether they are lesbian, gay, or people with disability, whether they are elderly, they are young people, women, men in the mines, the spectrum of communities interacting with the Thusa Setjhaba app has helped us to understand the population more and more, and the population that are in need. If you take the example with the social relief that was announced by Minister Zulu, people interacted to saying, we've applied, we have not received, and this data we've given it as well to Minister Zulu. The Department of Health, already we are in engagement with the Department of Health, Minister Mkhize. Minister, these are issues we are picking up because it's giving us a report, real-time information from communities, but also real-time response, where NGOs who are our partners as members of the community constituencies are immediately taking the issue that is coming out and linking to government services. We find the web-based platform very instrumental, and we're hoping that even our government will be able to see that besides communication aspect that we've put forward, but we're using other tools to communicate with communities. And these efforts are important to upscale. So I really do think it's quite important that we upscale the Thusa Setjhaba app. It becomes, more to the reach of communities and societies. Thank you.
Minister, I bet you hear that we've been on the ground for a very long time as community constituency COVID-19. My question is, how do you think we can collaborate, or the government can collaborate with the civil society in spreading and awareness and doing health education on community at the present moment? Because I believe that we really need to work together to curb this virus.
Actually, for me, the relationship has already started. Not only with me being here, it's part of cementing the relationship, but you as civil society decided that you're going to heed to the call of this government to come and work with us. That call means that you are positively responding, and already the relationship has started. Taking on what you have said, that you have been in contact with the Department of Health, you have been in contact with this and that, the minister. Now, I'm thinking of a situation where we should be looking into piloting Thusa Setjhaba, and we take it, we say, this is Northern Cape, what can we do with the aims of health? We go to Limpopo. Eastern Cape, daily we are receiving reports that there's so much, these are the numbers are going on, the students, there's this problem. What is it that we, from where we are, we can be able to link you up? And remember the support that we're talking about in relation to MDDA. It will not always be financial, but we can partner with you to take you to where communities are found, and we speak with the executive there and say, this is an app, this is what our people are doing, how can we utilize it? This is going to form part of the already existing measures that we are doing. So for example, if you have in Gauteng community health workers who are going door to door to take semen and teach our people and so on, this is an addition to that. What we need to understand as a people is that we all need to bring all those ideas and embrace all of them, because government can only think so much. But the huge chunk of responsibility lies with our citizens and us as government, creating that platform to support them and raise resources and assist you to be able to. This shouldn't die, for example. This platform that we are having today should be elevated and be promoted. I was saying to you, for example, that even our own legislation as an entity, we need to start having conversations about the world is moving so fast. The world is advancing. Our act says we can fund you because you don't have any CASA license. Is it working for today? It might have worked in 2003 when MDA was found. The reality is that as a people, we need to always review our existence and mandate and check whether we are relevant or not.
And I think on that point, because it's about how do we improve you know, the innovation that is happening, because you are spot on that part.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, you know, in GCIS, so if, for example, we wake up and we want to talk to our community radio stations, so we've got a bouquet that if you go there, we record you, we're going to distribute to the 65 radio stations. Can't we create a platform to create awareness around your app? What is it that we're going to do to bring CETA on board, for example, because they are responsible for the whole ICT infrastructure of government? How do we ensure that we assist you? Maybe the app has got weaknesses that maybe it's not safe there and there. How do we assist to make it more stronger, so that even the people, when we encourage them that utilize it, they can be free, that, you know, even if I can write my ID and so on, it is really safe. So I really think there's a whole lot that we can do together. Like, I'm already thinking in my own head that we could explore a whole lot more of opportunities. And such things we must promote, and we must encourage our people to come up with ideas and really work together.
We're still on the topic of the role of community media in communities right now during COVID-19, and we have with us the Secretary General of the National Community Radio Forum, Thabang Puso Yabone. Abuti Thabang, please tell us that what you have been doing currently during COVID-19. Technology, we are moving with technology now during COVID-19, fourth industrial revolution. It can show us planes and it's some of those things, but we're still on the on the conversation on community constituency COVID-19 front. If you can tune in right now on Facebook, our handle is Civil Society South Africa. On Twitter, it's Civil Society _SA, and on YouTube, COVID-19 front. Steve, can you tell us the plans of the COVID-19 front currently? What are you guys planning? What are we going, the plans, the way forward now, as we are now on the peak of COVID-19?
Yeah, no, we have just embarked on a project, Deputy Minister, together with Solidarity Fund.
Oh, nice. I know that.
And one of it is to embark on a robust education, mass mobilization of society and education around COVID-19, preventative interventions, and also the responsibility of society. This is really to address the social and behavioral aspect. Now, part of it, we're going into different communities, different corners in different districts and provinces. Of course, at the moment, because it's a pilot, social and behavioral change communication in various provinces, but it's at a local level where you walk and understand what social distancing is, where you walk and understand, no, these are our responsibilities, that and so forth. So we'll be reaching out so much onto various sectors in all their diversities, employing the young people to champion the change that we want to see. So we are quite excited with this collaboration because it's a campaign element to it, but additionally to it, it is around awareness and education. So we look forward to this collaboration, which is starting actually now in this coming week. We're using the Tusa Sechaba app because it's collecting and it has served to demonstrate
I'm going to download it.
the impact on it. And I really do think, Deputy Minister, you know, what excites me with this conversation, it's how between the community constituency can collaborate, as you've said. Let's look at the nuances of the program of the community constituencies and see how best can we collaborate with GCIS. And immediately then also say the use or the link. My experience having worked with your department, Deputy Minister, was through the GCIS studio, where we know at a specific time we are talking to 138 community radio stations. Anyone can call, whether they speak Xhosa, Venda, Zulu, and we speak to community, because it's easy as a community person, including all of us are community members,
Yes.
and we speak our own language, and not shy away to say, let's speak in Tswana because I'm Tswana. Let's speak in Zulu because I'm Zulu. This is South Africa, this is our own country.
Diversity.
And we speak our own languages in a way that we are comfortable, but our languages that we know they are transformative. Our language in a way that also helps to educate. So the collaboration with a Solidarity Fund, we have done quite a lot. We have distributed through our local community organizations foods. We have done testing. We've worked with MEC here in Gauteng. We've worked with some of the MEC in the Eastern Cape. So all of this work has been taking place, Deputy Minister.
When are you going to invite me?
We're hoping actually, I'm so excited that from this, the team Nelisa, we work and thrash out our collaboration with your department.
Yeah, I would be really happy for that. You know, last week, was it on a Monday, we had a conversation with the foundations, so Tambo Mandela, Tambo Mbeki, and so on. And the energy that we saw, I'm realizing that, and they actually, let me tell you what they said, and they actually forced us to indirectly commit that they want a broader platform of the civil society. And we said to them, look, we continue to have conversations. We'll have it with you, we're going to have it with the religious sector and so on. Today I'm here. And I can just only imagine that all of us, if we are gathered into one room, and there's so many ideas. But also what I'm beginning to appreciate is that our people not necessarily so much want us to always be spoon-feeding them with money. What is more important is that we should be able to give you the platform to can interact and we network you to be able to exist. You are really assisting this very same government in ensuring that we care. They care. You spoke about language. You know, South Africans are really so fortunate that we have remained committed to ensuring that we preserve our language as a people. That we continue to ensure that we do not discriminate based on language. And MDDA really is so much committed on that. Because a grandmother who's in Venda, a grandmother who's in KZN, and a grandmother who is somewhere in the Northern Cape, 3 different languages, Afrikaans and all of that, they are able, all of them, to receive the same information in their own mother tongue with a simple explanation. So you practically give it to our, and you know what it has assisted? This thing of languages, because if, for example, we talk about sanitizers, so a grandmother, when you explain to her that, then she'll ask, the sanitizer king, then you say, then they are able to say, indigenous knowledge system also popped up. And that is what has informed that South Africans rose in their numbers to create platforms, Facebook pages and so on, to say, no, but why this and this, and there's so many other things. So as a people, because information was given to them through their own language and in the empowerment correct way, they were also able to come up with ideas of saying, if you use this, because kids are in my own mother tongue, to curb this prevalent learning, the respiratory system. This is the solution and this is that.
Yeah.
It has been very beautiful.
Yeah.
Very
Talking about language, Deputy Minister, is one thing that I was going to come to. But let's go straight to Thabang Pusoyabone from the National Community Radio Forum, the work that they've been doing currently during COVID-19. Abuti Thabang?
Can you receive me now?
Yes, perfectly. Now we can hear you perfectly. Abuti Thabang, we are with the DM here from the presidency, and Steve Litzige, the co-chairperson of Community Constituency COVID-19 Front. Welcome, Abuti. The work that you guys have been doing on the ground during COVID-19.
Thank you very much for inviting us. Just at the beginning, I need to
We are still on community constituency COVID-19 front. Technology is still showing us flames. Abuti Taban, can you still hear us?
It's frozen.
It's frozen.
We are talking to Abuti Taban. He's in Northern Cape. That's the only way we could get hold of him through internet. DM.
Very beautiful.
Very beautiful.
That's what I'm saying.
That's how it's rolling. And also we must not forget that when electricity goes, the network gets affected.
Yes.
So it's some of those things.
Gatlin's last remark, because he's still back, he's back now. Just last input from him.
Is it there?
Yeah, please.
Oh yes,
Very bad.
but Abuti Tabang, let's come here. I know that you are aware that Community Constituency COVID-19 Front Radio has been on the ground and has been doing a lot of content on awareness and public health issues that we've been doing on the ground. What collaborations can we do together with your organization?
Sometimes in their boards, there are stations that then have elected people from those membership forums where NGOs are represented. So there's a strong collaboration between our radio stations, our member stations, as well as community-based organizations. And I can just add to say that one of the regulatory requirements is that community radio stations must host 2 programming meetings to gain feedback and advice from community on programming issues. And many of the stations invite community-based organizations to participate in this session so that they are able to then get direct feedback and direct comment so that it strengthens then the participation in community-based organizations. There's one concern though. The one concern is that you find that some of these organizations, some of these NGOs will then apply for funding and they are prepared to pay all the other service providers except for community radio. And I remember one of the organizations was saying to me that they have produced radio dramas, they paid for the production studios, they paid everybody else, voice-over artists, engineers, directors, but the one thing they were not willing to pay for was for the airtime of community radio. So these are things that maybe as we build partnerships, we must be able to implement to ensure that the sustainability of community radio does not suffer in the process.
Yes, like I said, we've been on the ground, DM. We did a lot of work. We're still on the ground. We're working with NPOs and NGOs on the ground. We're working with traditional leaders. We are working with traditional healers. We are working with faith-based organizations all over South Africa. Here's the challenge that Abuti Tabang is putting on the desk, that why our radio station or our community platforms has never been there. It is because of that little problem that we have, that we're putting to you, DM, right now, that we really need to be part of the 161 radio stations. DM, that's
Yes. You know what? I really actually I was expecting it from them. What we need to acknowledge is that when we resumed office, the biggest problem that we realized that was that there was no order and a systematic way of applications and funding. In this regard, you find that there were projects which would have been funded. A project of 2012 would be funded over a project of 2013. But what informed that? That was informed by the fact that you did not have a concrete and a solid policy which you can refer to. With a new grant funding model which we have introduced now, it is easier, it assists, it opens up for community radio stations. You find that sometimes they've got a problem with the tax clearance, there's a problem with this and that.
The compliance issues.
The compliance issues. Now this, with the new grant funding model, which I was saying we have launched last year in August, it is more systematic, easier. It is also transparent, so that if you're an applicant, you can come back and question me. Before that, you could not necessarily have a room to say, why are you funding a project of 2013 over mine? So what we did is that we closed all the applications. We wrote back to all the applicants to say, we are launching a new funding model. You must all start applying anew. And we do it in twice a year, first phase and second phase, first semester and second semester. Unfortunately now, because of COVID, things got stepped. The last year we did open up for it. We were supposed to open it up for April, and then you apply, and then we fund you. But because of COVID, then that had to stop.
Yeah.
But that funding model, I can really assure you, NCRF, and all interested parties and our people as a whole, that party looks like it was not. It is stricter. Actually, it is more friendlier, because we are able to say to you, hello, you've got a problem with this, fix this, give us this. You understand? And then we have also created a memorandum of understanding with ICASA, because part of the things you find that as MDDA, we also picked up that our opening of application period would not be in line with ICASA. While for us to give you, except the print, you need to come up with an ICASA license. And we find that by the time some other times, so we said to them, we've actually went to 2 places with ICASA where we're teaching our people that you need to understand the instructions of the regulator. How do you comply with the instructions of the regulator? Because if you don't comply, they will not give you a license, and then you will come to us and you will complain. But also was to teach our people that you need to understand that the MDDA's role is to offer support and financial support and other forms of riches and so on. But if you are not able to comply with the license of ICASA, you must know when is it going to expire in time, so that you can apply for renewal of it in time. Yes. So those are the things that we are doing. But you must find comfort in the fact that we have went out to speak to your commercial broadcasters to say, please do not walk away from MDDA. Come back and work with us. Come back. The funding that you are giving to us, we are working on stabilizing the institution. We've got when we arrived in the institution, for example, there were a lot of vacancies. We are working on this and that to ensure that the institution is stable. When the institution is stable, you can be able to come up with policies which you can follow up. There will be people who will sign performance agreements. You will be able to hold them accountable. And as a result, we will be able to account for the monies of our people. Because all this money comes from a fiscus which is responding to a call of a mandate by the MDDA that we do not want this sector to die. And that is why we opted that we must also respond and give an emergency relief fund, because the sector cannot collapse. We cannot agree to that.
I think, Steve, from here, our role is to look at this grant, the grant
we call it
model,
the grant funding model,
and follow up. Our application is on the way. That communication is continuing, because we really need to form part of that 161 radio stations. We need our voice on the ground. We need to be there on the ground, DM. We will follow up with you as well.
You know what I was saying here is that you need to also organize yourself, because like I'm saying to you, the act of the MDDS currently, it says that you must have an ICASA license to fund as part of assisting in terms of innovation and bringing ideas. And this I tell everybody that I meet, that let us work towards a process of repealing the act so that it can also cover what is your concern. Or probably it's there or it's not there. Do we find research? Do we find this and that? But every platform that we get, there are people who strive to want to re-clarify our people so that our people do not think that we do not care. And there must never be a thought that we are neglecting community media sector. No. Actually, this sector has shown its loyalty and commitment to us during this time of COVID. They have pulled out and came out for us full force, and we really appreciate that.
Abuti Taban, your closing remarks as we are about to wrap up our show. What do you think is the way forward from here?
I think community radio can still remain the best platform to reach community in the far-flung areas. I think collaborations will always add value. We must always do our best to ensure that we collaborate with local institutions, with institutions like the Community Constituency Committee Front. So we're looking for those opportunities to ensure that we deliver the best credible content to our communities, educational content, because this is why we are here. Community radio must play that role. We need to rely on community radio for that kind of information. Thank you very much.
Steve, your closing remarks?
It's quite important to look forward to the collaboration. And I find comfort, Deputy Minister, with your willingness to collaborate with community constituency, because it immediately then says, where do we need to leverage? You are reaching out to communities, you are speaking to communities, and you are community. So when we say this community constituency is by the community, for the community, with community, that's exactly what we mean. And part of it is to localize the language, educate more, create awareness. The most important thing is to save lives. And there's nothing that is more important to educate the right messages on time so that we can save more lives. So I'm quite excited. The collaboration, we will tease it out with your office, Deputy Minister, to then say, these are programs, that we think we can collaborate on, but also these are programs that collaboration between government and civil society looks like to achieve. We do know that civil society, we rely on resources. And what Puso is raising, indeed, because we are not for profit. We are a non-profit entity in which we operate our work to raise resources. And indeed, when you speak about ensuring that we can pay for air, we need resources to pay for air.
Definitely.
But we create and develop content that is community-led, right? But it's very important that we raise more resources to air. So the linking up, not only just of this, we want to link our work to community radio stations. We want to be able to afford so that we don't also exploit the community radio stations that are already doing it, right? We want to collaborate, but we also want our government to assist where we step up. And I think I appreciate our way forward to engage more.
Deputy Minister, expect our emails.
Yes.
We're going to definitely communicate with you and in partnership. Abuti Taban, we are going to form part of the 161 radio stations before the end of the week. We are still on Community Constituency COVID-19 Front Radio. My name is Fofele Refolo, and I would like to take this time to thank my guests, DM Tembisi Weya, Steve Litzike, the Chairperson of Community Constituency COVID-19 Front, and Abuti Taban Puso Yabone, the General Secretary of the National Community Radio Forum. Thank you very much, listeners and viewers, for joining us today. I also would like to take this opportunity to thank our station manager, Deni Walusi, our technical manager, Stephen Ramokhama, producer, Kenny Mudise, cameraman, Brian Mtunu. Until next time, ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you're a mobile radio.
Yes, anyway, anytime.